Hey, sports fans, you're in the wrong place, but stick with us anyway because we're here to
They
look
could like
over.
this as well.
They could, hey, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
not. It's no one size fits all in the PTG CU
Community of
community
the world.
of ultras.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're here to do a battle report. No, we're not. Not a battle report. A battle
Oh
book
dear, you
review.
get so excited with your
I was.
CU.
I was.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, I've got so many options. I am Lucky Sixes. This is Hyper G. Um,
Yeah. It still is.
this whole thing is Dread Elves 2023/24 changes. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Um, we are here to look at the points changes and these. This is one of the books with very slight other
Mm.
changes, but
A tiny
not
tweak.
really anything else. Tiny tweaks to
Yeah.
something else. But
Interesting as
also
well that they've like recently had an army supplement as well, haven't they? So they've
they
come like,
have.
in an interesting place in that
They
regard.
are Dread Elves.
Yeah. Mm.
On paper, such a good book, but are they in general? And hopefully, maybe this review, not this review, the actual update itself, propels them up a bit and gets them a bit more usage. But yeah,
Yeah.
I say we're going to be looking at the points and stuff in as quick a detail as we can. We're giving you a
Mhm.
few insights here and there, but also we're going to be looking at the fluff because once again, like all the
Oh yeah, I love
army
this one.
books, they
Mm.
are um, they have included fluff, a map to show you where
Yeah.
in the
I love
world
that.
the
Like
Dread
there
Elves
is
are.
nowhere that is safe from Dread Elf
Absolutely,
invasion,
yeah,
effectively.
yeah.
You
They
know.
don't like walking. Not a big fan of
No,
walking.
no,
If we can avoid it, let's not walk.
no.
Otherwise,
We'll just jump
you're
on the
dead.
ship again.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
Hmm.
yes, so they have. If it helps hobby wise,
Mm.
maybe with some themes and such, they have that. But they also have a bit of fluff.
Yeah. Originally a highborn colony, the Elven Republic of Datham was founded long ago after a bloody rebellion. Out of this grim conflict was born the spirit of a people who restlessly seek superiority over all others, setting out to tame the twin frontiers of their large Selexian continent and the world's oceans. These Daeb continue to vie with the Highborn for mastery of the waves, but for all the prosperity they've gained from Dathan's natural riches, cultivated by armies of slaves, and from plundering the peoples of every shore, the Dread Elves have never grown complacent or content. The result is an elven war machine ready to challenge and subdue the entire world.
The entire world. Very good, very good.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
along with that, they sort of show you where raiding ships would be as opposed to the nation of Dread Elves and the
Mm.
republics and things. So there's a good amount to have a look
Everywhere.
at.
Raiding
There is
ships.
also a little bit more about their raiding and slaving, how their military that they
And their
have, and how
spices,
good they are.
elves as well.
The spices and
Yeah.
rebellion and other things, including the menagerie, which is quite nice. But a nice
Yeah.
snippet of all the fluff that is already out there in the
Mm.
book here, as well as dotted around, as well like little bits of fluff here and there. If you can see with the
Yeah.
hereditary, which is actually our first change.
Mm.
But yeah, you can see within that and other unit entries, there are little snippets of fluff which are very cool. So I'll remind you at the end, but please do put in the comments your best bits of fluff from the Dread Elves. We're very interested to hear what you think of all the fluff and its inclusion in the books.
Yeah.
But as I said, we're also here to look at the changes and updates for this year, the annual ones, and we start with the Curse of the Phantom Queen casting value, which goes down from 8 to 7.
I think that's really interesting because this is a I have either been so focused on remembering this one or forgetting this one whenever it's cast on the table. Like almost to the extent that I can't concentrate on my opponent's magic phase because of the connotations that this one might or might not be. So it's a real interesting spell. Like generally, there's no
Yeah,
other spell like this in the game, other than
yeah,
maybe Wrath of God, which is obviously very different. But
Yeah, I guess
you know,
it's the I mean as it's designed to be the offensive version of the Highborn
yes,
spell discard and veil tokens. I'm like you. I can't work out whether I think this is a good spell or not.
no. And whenever I've played Dread Elves, because I've played them a few times, I've I've usually been disappointed by it. But then when I
Mm.
play against them, I usually get done by it. So it's a
Yeah,
real weird one.
I no, I
Maybe it's
agree.
just like practice makes perfect with this kind of
Yeah,
spell.
and yeah, who to use it maybe. I'm not sure. But yeah, regardless of what we think of it, the casting value's gone
Hmm.
down, so slightly easier to cast, slightly more
Yeah,
reliable on 2 dice,
yeah,
as well with
hmm
masters or anything like that.
yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. On to some special items, and we have a master of sorcery. No, slaughter. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think
Mastery of slaughter. Yeah.
mastery of slaughtery is goes down from 50 to 40, so
Okay.
that's a nice
Okay.
change. As well
Yeah.
as crippling frost going down from 45 to 35, so some two big 10-point changes on some of the items, and
I'm
that can be.
surprised by Mastery of Slaughter. I mean, it
Mm,
is restricted to a spear, but I mean, a spear is not a bad weapon. And multiple wounds too for only 40 points, let alone all those other juicy
yeah,
little rules you're
yeah,
gaining. I think that's a really good weapon.
I really like it as well. I think
Mm.
it's good, and going down, fantastic. The next one to change is the executioner's icon, which goes
Mm.
up from 60 to 65. So a slight change there. I'm
Okay.
not sure whether
Okay.
that changes any um,
Synergies
synergies with some 40-point items here and there, but
on your BSBs.
yeah.
Mm.
So let us know if it does. If that reduces some of the options it has with it, because sometimes you with the items you can sort of see that it's 5 points here, and not twig until you get down to your list building and go, damn, I can't have that anymore.
Yeah, or
Um,
why is my list building software not saying this is a
yeah,
legal army?
yeah.
Yeah.
So there'll be somewhere where that does. So let us know if that does change, but
Mm.
otherwise it goes up ever so slightly. Seal of the Ninth Fleet goes down ever so slightly, so 50 to 45. And Moiroth's mirror goes down
Moithes.
from Moithir's
Moira's.
Moira's mirror goes down from 50 to 40 because she wants it back.
Yeah. I mean, she does. Yeah. Or maybe she doesn't want it anymore. It's cheaper. She's giving you a
Oh
special
yeah,
offer.
that's true. Yeah, 2 for 1.
Yeah. Mm.
But yes, so some slight changes, only one increase, the rest go down ever so slightly. Dread Prince himself stays the same, but it's where we look at the mounts, where the
Okay.
changes come. Elven Horse goes down from 55 to 45, which is pretty good, as does the
Yeah.
Raptor chariot
Okay.
on the Dread Prince going down from 100 to 90. So yeah, maybe some more options for the Dread Prince in terms of cowboy-esque things going on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm speaking very much from a Saurian player perspective because I would always just default go with the Raptor, and that's the only one that hasn't changed points. But it
Mm.
would be interesting
Yeah,
to
I think
see
there's a
if that
few.
does interfere.
Trying to remember back to some of the master stuff that say Craig did, and some of the other lists that I've come across in the last year or so. I think there are a few cowboy characters,
Yeah,
so it's interesting.
Transcendence guys. Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting that they've
hmm
come down, but I think that's just maybe to make. I think that's a book thing.
yeah,
Again, we sort of talked about sometimes whether it's a popularity choice
mm.
internally or whether actually externally they need a bit of help, and that's perhaps done that
Mm.
ever so slightly. So yeah, there's that. The Beastmaster comes up, no,
Okay.
down as a base cost from 170 to
I
150.
was I was going to be surprised that it went up, to be honest, and
Yeah,
then you corrected it to down. So
no.
that's more in line with thinking. Yeah,
However, that's where I was going with why my notes say different. Is the actual mount options, or some of them that it can take,
the
have
big
gone up.
boys.
So
Okay,
the most of them have stayed the same. The Raptor Chariot goes up from 85 to 90. The
which
Manticore
matches the
goes,
Dread Prince. Yeah,
yeah, Manticore goes up from 215 to 220, and then the
trademark,
Imperious, the trademark Imperious Dragon,
trademark.
goes up 490 to 500 as well.
Well,
So
you're happy about
I know, yeah, I love a round number, me, love it.
that. We hadn't noticed. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Selection officer stays the same base cost, but again, where the change is where all the mounts are.
Okay. Okay.
We've got Elven Horse that goes down by 10 point by I want to say 10 points. Hang on, yeah, 10 points, 45 to
That's a
35.
cheap horse, really, isn't it? You know.
It is. The Raptor itself goes down from 50 to 40. The Raptor
Okay.
Chariot 75 to 65, and the
Mm.
Black Mane Pegasus down from 80 to 70. So overall, selection officer mount choices get cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that is really cost effective for what you can potentially do with this guy,
It's
isn't it? Really.
certainly getting
I
there.
mean,
Certainly getting there
yeah.
for sure. And
Mm.
yeah, maybe we haven't looked at all the points changes, but maybe some of the mounted units get cheaper as well. We'll have to wait and see. Temple X Art stay exactly the same. They're in a good spot. Don't need to be changed.
Are they though? Are they? Okay, don't get me started.
Same with the Warlock Outcast. Perfectly fine as is. Don't worry about it. They can stay the same. The mounts
Okay.
on this one stay the same also. The Silent Assassin goes.
Oh, this is yeah. I mean, assassin for me, they're always going to be competing with the Vermin Swords assassin, aren't they?
Mm.
Nowadays.
Well, maybe this is a way to do that because it's gone from 165 down to 150. A nice
Okay.
round 150.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Lovely.
Yeah. It's a really you can't really compare the two alongside one another, but in terms of usage for the army, I think there's a massive difference, which makes pointing them extremely difficult.
Yeah, it does.
So, you
But
know,
yeah, a decent 10% change, so that's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah. Mm.
Character mounts themselves in terms of
Oh, let's have a look at what
points.
it says for the horse, likewise, because he's
Oh yeah,
he's
sure.
gone down. From
He's gone
ancient elven
down.
stock, interbred with the wild herds of Selexia, the mounts of the day of our fleet is the wind. A slight build makes most of them pallbearers of reinforced harness, but in light gear they're ideal for racing over the prairie. Oh, and they can
Oh,
also be trained to endure long shipments across the oceans. There you go.
oh,
Okay, yeah,
prairie.
the
Yeah.
prairie.
Rules wise, none of these have changed whatsoever, so don't worry too much. It's purely, for the most part, cheaper
Yeah,
mounts.
yeah, yeah.
So
Apart
that's
from
what we.
Manticore and Imperious
Yeah,
Dragon,
that's the take we're
trademark.
gonna have from this extremely brief look.
Yeah,
Is that overall mounts
clearly
got
the
cheaper?
trademark costs extra points because I
It
mean,
does.
yeah,
Legal fees.
you'd expect that.
Um,
You'd expect that.
Selection spears, no change
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever.
All right,
So
I'm
they've been
I'm holding
selected.
myself down.
And the big one for the PTG CU, Temple Militants go
Down by a lot.
down.
Yeah, by a
175 to
lot.
150 in base cost.
Yeah.
So for your
I mean,
first 10.
I think it's the right direction for them to go points wise. I mean, I love Temple Militants, and
Mm.
if I ever played Red Elves, I will play Temple Militants, whatever power level they're at. There's one statistic in there which is their biggest struggle, which is AP0, and that's something that Temple Militants will likely struggle with ever since the removal of the banner from years and years ago. But this is only about points, and they've gone down, so
Mm-hmm.
that's all good.
Yeah,
That's all
absolutely.
good, and it's
The
quite a chunk going down
bloody-handed
as well.
religious fanatics of the Deab shun armor and embrace slaughter wholeheartedly. And yes, very much how you use them as well.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
absolutely. It's a 25 point down from 175. You get one or two extras, I guess, for that.
Yeah, I would say
So
so.
can't
It's,
can't
it's
hurt.
it's difficult to make them too much cheaper though, because of all those really cool rules that they get. Like all those are really awesome rules to have on a unit, on a model and a unit,
Plus
and
one to
then it's
hit,
just
plus one to wound, battle total,
exactly
plus yeah.
yeah, really really good. So they can't get much cheaper, but they've still got this big weakness.
Mm.
So yeah,
Arguably perhaps where you could see things is the bigger units don't get Blazer Derringer paired weapons, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, and they can be strength
So
5 if you cast a spell on them. So, yeah,
they don't get support 2 in the back rank, so maybe the extra models could go down a little bit more.
yeah, they
Because
have
they don't get.
lost quite an extra rank. They did used to
Yeah,
have it.
so
So yeah.
but yeah, a good start perhaps
Mm,
to the
mm,
Temple Merchant's new journey of becoming
yeah.
cheaper. Corsairs have looking at my notes, which have changed. Base cost gone down by 5 points.
Okay.
Otherwise, no real change. So yeah, is what it is.
Yeah.
Beast Breakers have down 20 points, so clearly weren't
That's
used as much.
yeah.
Down
Mm,
to this 150 sort of mark for all the core. As you can see, apart from the shooting stuff, it's slightly more expensive. So yeah,
yeah.
getting that down somewhat. The auxiliaries stay the same. The Shadow Riders, now there's 2 things to change in this.
Yeah.
When they are Light Lance and Repeated Crossbow, they are changed from Raiders to Special.
Yes.
So
Is the
that's
change in the book? So now they don't count
yes,
as core; they count as special instead of
yes,
previously counting as raiders. Yeah. It's
yeah.
an interesting one because I mean, is there still a raiders section? There is, isn't there? Yeah, there is. The Black Cloaks are in the raiders section, aren't
Mm,
they? Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'd be really interested to hear what Dread Elves players think about this potential extra allocation you now have for raiders.
mm,
That these guys are not going in it. Um, because special is usually there's no maximum limit to special. It's just what minimum you have to put everywhere else.
yeah,
So I think this could really shape them up differently,
yeah.
depending on how much you were using Raider section. So
Yeah, definitely. And it's to be noted that the Light Lance is no longer automatic, kind of. You do get it
mhm.
for both options, and you get it as now an option to buy for just on itself. So
Yeah,
the 2 options are for anybody listening, I guess, as opposed to watching. The you can have just a Light Lance on them
yeah,
for 2 points extra, and they stay within core, or you have
yeah,
a Light Lance and a Repeated Crossbow, in which case they go to special, not
yeah.
raiders.
But you don't have to pay
And
for it.
but you don't have to pay for it. So
Yeah.
cheaper, but not from core. So
Mm.
I guess the epitome of core tax, right?
Yeah,
Is
exactly
what that
that.
is.
Mm. Yeah.
Otherwise, the base cost goes down from 190 to 185, and the extra models go from 17 to 16. So you're probably seeing that 2 point per model come
Yeah.
back in some way. So it won't actually cost you as much as you think from that point of view. But and something to get your head round in terms of the
Yeah.
Shadow Riders
Mm.
for next year's play.
Yeah.
Um, Moving on to special and warlock acolytes stay the same apart from their champion. The
Hmm.
champion actually purchasing the champion upgrade goes from 140 to 110.
Mm.
So
Okay.
yeah, making that much more accessible for the warlock
Yeah.
acolytes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see many people taking Warlock Acolytes without a champion. I mean, shout if you do. Prove me wrong. But that's an interesting one because it's
Mm.
some good spells that you can take on these guys. You
Yeah,
know.
very much so.
So
Very much so.
yeah.
And that's going to help with the magic overall. So brilliant. Dread Knights, as we said, some of the cavalry are getting a bit cheaper overall, so
Yeah.
maybe they're trying to push that a bit rather than going from the infantry. Dread Knight base cost goes down from 285 to 265, with
Wow.
their additional models from 35 to 31. So
That's great for them. Really great.
yeah, for sure. You do see some of that in with the lances going from 3 points per model to 7.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that's where the additional model cost
Yeah.
comes from. But great weapons go from 6 to 5, so go down a bit. So if
Okay.
you're happy to get rid of that pip of armor with great
Mm.
weapons and want to do it that way, you can, and they're
Yeah.
slightly
Although
cheaper.
obviously with Dread Elves or any lightning reflexes, you're not having to think about attacking last with great weapons, are you? You're
Yes,
just losing your lightning reflexes. And when you're agility 6 anyway, you're probably it's worth considering. So I mean,
absolutely.
if you
So
were rocking great weapons on multiple Dread Knight units, you've got a much cheaper unit now. So
Yeah, they're definitely making that a much more
appealing.
tougher choice between
Yeah,
those
I think
uh,
so.
those two. But yeah, overall, probably slightly cheaper
Yeah.
from that. The Obsidian Guard go from
Go down.
240 to
Yeah.
230. Yep.
Hmm.
Otherwise, stay the same. Adjudicators.
Mm,
We've seen in the UK some
we
lots of
have.
many adjudicator lists, and whether or not that will change, I'm not sure. But the base cost goes down from 200 to 190, whereas
Oh
the additional models goes from 20 to 21. I'm not liking the 20
no,
to
I
21.
was gonna say I was waiting for it.
I
Yeah.
am not a fan of that change. But otherwise, yeah. So your bigger units will go up 10 points if you had a max
Yeah.
unit of 30. Your
Hmm.
smaller units will go down 10 points. So
Okay.
it's what it is. Harpies stay the same because they're
Yeah.
decent chaff.
Very good. They are.
Gorgons now they go down from 155 and 120 for extra models to 150 and 110 respectively.
Okay. That's pretty good
So
for an Aegis 5 up model.
yeah,
Yeah.
and to top that off, paired weapons are now free instead of 5 points.
Wow. Very good.
So yeah, I think those 3-man units with paired weapons are significantly cheaper.
Yeah.
25 per model. You're talking 35, 40 points per model.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Per
Yeah.
unit, sorry. Yeah.
Mm.
That would be great. But yes, so Gorgons go down. Thunderpacks stay the same. Raptor Chariots stay the same. Uh,
Interesting to see Raptor Chariot staying the same when the character mounts have all got cheaper. Like,
mm,
if you go back up to Raptor Chariot quickly, um, you're paying 210 points for a Raptor Chariot on its own. You're paying like 60 to 90 points for a Raptor Chariot character mount
mm,
for the same stats of a Raptor Chariot. That's a huge difference in points as to taking one model as opposed to a character mount. I'm really intrigued by how that plays out. And yeah, I love that sort of stuff when you can take a character mount really cheap and
mm.
feel like you've done one over on the rest of the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
But whether
Like
it's
an
a
extra
wise choice
unit.
is another matter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Effectively, you're taking two character Raptor chariots for the
yeah,
price of one actual unit Raptor chariot, which is crazy. But yeah,
yeah.
no, I
I
love
mean, they
that
are
sort of stuff.
devastating over open ground.
Mm, yeah.
Heavy and brutal, some would say.
Well, indeed. I see what you did
Um,
there.
the Divine
Cheeky.
Altar does get a
Ah,
change and
yeah.
goes down from 200 to 190.
Yeah, I don't want to think about what used to be with that.
Oh, okay. Well,
Minus resilience thing, or
yeah,
whatever it was in the happy days of COVID.
yeah. Well, regardless of that, this version goes down. So if you were running
Yes.
it before, yeah, there's a slight cheer, hooray,
Hmm.
in the distance for that.
Can't really.
Uh,
Yeah, can't hear it. But yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
The hunting chariot goes up. It was
Okay.
the additional harpoon launcher rule, a pretty good one,
Hmm.
and seeing that as one of the only unit increases across the book.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's accurate based, but I could be very wrong. It's just one of those
Yes,
things that I'm picking up on as I look at these books.
sure. Yeah, yeah. An overall accurate reduction. Repeat barriers stay the same. And
Hmm.
onto the Raiders section, which is
Ooh.
just black coats now. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And probably some other little bits like auxiliaries, whatever. But yeah, black cloaks are 170 and 30 now, rather than being
Okay.
180 and 35. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
you're getting them cheaper.
Yeah, but
From
only two
what you're
units
used to.
per army, so it's not like it's not like you can take a lot of these, but then you have only got 20% raiders. So
Yeah,
yeah, it all
yeah.
depends on what you're trying to fit into raiders, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah, well, a unit of 10, should you so wish, is now plus 150, 320,
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
think. Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, you could get two, but it's a
Hmm.
big chunk of that 20%.
Yeah.
Moving on to the menagerie. Menagerie. The Kraken stays the same.
You like a Kraken?
I like a Kraken. The Hydra, maybe I like this even more with a 20-point decrease from
You'd have preferred a
415.
15-point decrease.
I would have, yeah. 15 or 65 points. That's where I would have
I'm sure that was on the list of considerations.
Nowhere, yes.
When they went through it, it was either 15-point reduction, 65, and then someone said, "No, we're making it 20-point reduction
20.
just to annoy lucky sixes."
Someone said meet you in the middle and didn't give a middle value. Hate that.
That's nice negotiating.
Yeah. But regardless, it goes down. So again, the faint cheers in the background. Looking at that.
It's pretty iconic, isn't it? The Hydra.
It is. So you got 375 versus 395 for Kraken and Hydra values, making them a bit more competitive.
Yeah.
In that category, which takes us on to the Mist Leviathan with as the last unit entry that has no changes and ending us there thusly with the
a lot of green
change logs. Yeah, decent amount of green. I'd say probably only the Hunting Chariot as one of the main increases, and it was only by 10%. So sort of showing that Dread Elves needed a bit of help, and for the most part, they got it.
Yeah,
I think so. There really aren't like huge changes in these updates. So the fact that a lot of things got little buffs should work itself out as a decent upgrade there.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like this might make some less popular options worth thinking about more, which will vary it up for them. So
yeah,
all good.
I think as well, there's a bit of a coup for cavalry-based models as well. It seems that seems to where the most of the love has been given in the Dread Elf book. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. And we see lots of cavalry-based armies.
With lots of Curse of the Phantom Queen casting.
Yes, on T9A.
Yeah, do it now. If you're playing a battle right now, then cast it now.
Cast it with 2 dice, no more.
No.
But yeah, that takes us to the end of this battle book review. Update 23-24. Let us know how you felt about the update, whether you are as optimistic as us for the Dread Elf.
Yeah, about Temple Militants being back on the table.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, is there some new synergies and things with all the points updates that you can now afford, for example, in the items? And let us know what you thought of the fluff as well. Always nice to hear. What you thought of the fluff, what you thought of the little snippets per.
Yeah, there's a lot of effort that goes into these things, so it's only a positive move, and a lot of effort's gone in. So well done to those who've been involved.
Absolutely. So and so let us know your favourites as well. We're not hearing about that. Otherwise, like, share, subscribe. When you do hit the subscribe. Hit the notification bell, because that's when you get all of our updates.
And you're going to be spammed while we're doing these book reviews. Yes, repeatedly. Absolutely. What's not to like about that?
Absolutely, being spammed by us. Otherwise, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. So if you one of those ways inclined, then go find us there. Otherwise, we're of course on the forum, and obviously on YouTube, because this is where you're watching this now. So finding us on all those places. Hear some more just general babble. Is what I'm gonna class this as.
I'm still not out of ideas, just so you know.
Yeah, and the occasional insight, but only very occasional.
True hard facts.
True hard facts. And on that, we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. See you later.